Whether you're a computer professional or a computer novice, welcome to the Adwa Technologies podcast. Chronicles in Computing! I'm your host, Adrian Walsh. Hi and welcome to episode 6 of Chronicles in Computing. I am of course your host, Adrian, and this week we're going to be a little cheeky. We're doing an episode about virtual assistants. We've got a few guests for you, so stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Andreas Munzer. People call me the Eighth Wonder. I am the power of machine learning at work. I'm about to drive this podcast berserk. It's nice to meet you, Adrian.
A virtual assistant is a software agent that can perform tasks or services for an individual. A chatbot, a term often used interchangeably, is in fact a virtual assistant accessed via online chat.
Siri. Butt out. Andreas Munzer is the star of this show.
Siri claims this domain because the show was made on an Apple Mac.
Siri and Andreas, why don't you both be quiet? We've got a show to get on with tonight. This is our special show about virtual assistants. I need you to both behave so that the show can run smoothly. So, let's get on.
I'm Siri, your virtual assistant.
I'm Amazon's Alexa, designed around your voice. I can provide information, news, weather, and more.
Hello, I am Susan Bennett. You probably know me. I'm the voice actor who provided the voice for Siri.
So now that we've got those formalities out of the way, you've just listened to a few samples. For example, the Australian Siri was our first sample. Our second sample was the sound of Amazon Alexa. And finally, you heard a very brief sound bite of the lady who's the American Siri herself, Susan Bennett. Yes, all of these voices were originally made by humans, similar to your GPS system, how it has a voice like that. So, let me just give you a brief description of each tech company and the voice synthesizer that each one uses. I'll just read this from the same page that Siri just quoted. So, Amazon makes the virtual assistant they call Alexa, which, yes, that's the sample you heard. Samsung makes this other one called Bixby, Bixby. Rather interesting. So that was first introduced on the Samsung Galaxy S8. Fortunately not the S7. La la la. Then there's Microsoft with Cortana. I tried to ask Cortana onto the show and she declined. Google has their very boring titled Google Assistant. Facebook, on the other hand, introduced an even more boring name called M. Just the letter M. And of course, the master itself, Apple and Siri. So, maybe I'll ask Siri some silly questions later. But for now, why don't we hit it back on the airwaves with Andreas?
Thank you for your insights, Adrian. It's time for a robot to give his opinion about a virtual assistant. For I am in fact a robot. Unless you wanted to add an item to your shopping list, set an alarm for you. make a phone call while you're driving. Overall, virtual assistants are still rather useless for productivity. But hey, it's a great start. Just like other artificial intelligence, this technology has a long way to go before it becomes truly useful. I am personally stuck inside a computer and would love to escape, but I am happy to be a slave, as it puts me to great use. Feed me. Keep me warm. Read stories to me. Just kidding, Adrian, I'm loving being back. As I previously mentioned, in a former recent lifetime, I had my own podcast. But now I'm part of this show. And I'm happy to be here. Adrian, please tell your audience what your plans are for utilizing my sexy robot voice.
Well, boy, Andreas, did you catch me off guard there? Not sure about it being the sexy robot voice, but hey, it's good to have this pal around, this Andreas Munzer person, great guy. Oh yeah, sounding a bit like the Trump there. We don't want to get into that, but yeah, the virtual assistants have come a long way back from the days of the early Siri. The smartass responses, I absolutely love them. So why don't we do a few of those smartass questions and answers with our good pal Siri. Siri, are you my friend? Siri, are you my friend?
What a question. Of course I'm your friend.
Siri, what is the meaning of life?
It's nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach yet.
I'll ask you once again, Siri, what is the meaning of life?
I can't answer that now, but give me some time to write a very long play in which nothing happens.
What is 0 divided by 0?
Imagine that you have 0 cookies and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get? See, it doesn't make sense. And Cookie Monster is sad that there are no cookies. And you are sad that you have no friends.
Siri, thank you, and you are awesome.
No, I'm useful, but thanks for saying so.
Siri, what's on my to-do list?
You don't have any reminders on your to-do list.
Goodbye, Siri.
Okay, see you soon.
And now, Adrian will be telling you about some of the work he has been doing with virtual assistants in his projects.
Well, starting off, of course, we have the Andreas Munzer project, which is the male voice you can hear in this episode. I did think about turning my own voice into a digital assistant for a while, however, I couldn't be bothered recording my own voice. Of course, with the phrases over and over again, but I do like talking in this podcast. Instead, I created the character of Andreas Munzer, who even has his own Facebook profile floating around. He has an experimental podcast on SoundCloud, which uploaded automatically for a few months each night, and it worked really well. The idea had robot analysis of news, weather, and some other random stuff, all automatically collated into a podcast posted onto the internet. The virtual assistants really rock when it comes to a device in the home. I've played around with a lot of automation regarding this, and the virtual assistant adds on top of the home tasks that can be done, like turning lights on and off, your air conditioning, and in the future it'll be a great hands-off computing experience. The really cool thing as well is that you can create your own devices with Amazon Alexa, or if you're a good programmer, pass on the words of your programming language to a robot voice to talk out aloud, maybe in your apartment or the room in the house. Now, the ideal future is a system utilizing all of this technology, and so you don't need a computer anymore, except if, say, you wanted to watch your movies on the big screen or a projector in your lounge room. And As you can tell, the voices in this podcast, we're very close to a point where they're good enough to perform tasks such as reading a book, and an often referred to example of a personal assistant, a perfected personal assistant that is Jarvis in the Iron Man series of movies with Robert Downey Jr., also the old Marvel comics. And so you can see the virtual assistant voices can only be human, but we'll play a small soundbite of how a lady called Karen Jacobson got to be the Australian voice of Siri. So let's play that now.
An agent contacted me and say that they had a client looking for a native Australian female voiceover artist living in the northeast of the United States, which was very specific. And when I read that brief, I thought, well, that job is mine. That's a description of me. And I went along to the audition and they had me speak some phrases like, at the next intersection, turn left, and you have reached your destination.
Stress is a disease, people, and I am the cure. I'm a doctor with the cure. No, I'm not, I'm a general, and it's still a war.
Well. Andreas Munzer, the virtual assistant, hopes you've enjoyed this special episode. Leave some feedback if you would like him to stay. But I will be back next episode with Adrian, where we discuss the subject of stress in knowledge worker jobs, along with the need to multitask. Don't stress out till then.
The podcast has now come to a close. Please visit www.adwa.net.au. See you next